Welcome to the Black Multiverse Series podcast. Good evening, everybody. Today, we are your hosts, Nigel and Nilo. We'll be exploring current events through the Afro-Canadian lens. In shoutouts, we catch up with the community, creating a space for connection. The scroll dives into social media, current events, and celebrity news, always actual but not factual. On the screen shares our latest watch list, while in our ears explores the sounds shaping our world. The podcast culminates with an uplifting message called The Word, which hopes to leave you, the listener, empowered. Thank you for tuning in for some vibrant perspective on today's world. So I think we've had some issues getting our stream going on Facebook, and I think today's the first day that we are streaming actually on YouTube.
Oh, we're streaming on YouTube as well.
Yes, but we're not able to get our Facebook up there because Facebook has removed access for third-party apps. So we have to do a bunch of back-end things to get our Facebook back in.
Okay, so there's no Facebook at all?
Right now, as far as I can tell, no. As far as I can tell, we are on YouTube only.
Okay. We're under the Black Multiverse?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is very new because we've never streamed on YouTube before. Also.
Right. Well, here we are. I see us.
You do?
Yep.
And we're there streaming?
We are there streaming.
Okay, maybe we can try and import the people. Do you want to try?
Import?
I mean, like, share it on our page so that the people can find us.
Yeah.
Is that you on there with the eyes? It says I have one person. And I'm wondering if it's you. I'm going to check in a second. All right, y'all. Wow, live on YouTube. We have a whole 40 YouTube subscribers. Did you know that?
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So, episode 372, we have a lot of things coming your way this week, but every week we start this podcast with shout outs. So, throwing it to you, buddy.
Shout outs. We got shout outs today. I have just shared everything on my page and on the Black Multiverse as well. So hopefully...
Ooh, hey Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle's jumping in, which is really cool.
This is our first time YouTube streaming, which is really cool. If you are watching us now on YouTube and you're watching us live, you can go ahead, like the podcast, subscribe, share, and let's see what we can do on this YouTube. It's actually pretty exciting, and I will have to figure out what's going on with Facebook after.
Well, we've been doing Facebook for a long, long time.
We really have.
Is different and unexpected, but it's okay. We gotta roll with what we got, and we'll check it out.
Yeah.
And as more people jump in, they will see you. We'll see you. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.
Do the things
to YouTube. If you're on YouTube now, it will help. It'll help us reach higher heights and deeper depths
to our channel. Okay.
Yeah.
So, shout outs.
Shout out. So we got a lot of shout outs coming up. My son's birthday is coming up. Nashan, he's my firstborn. It's coming up pretty soon. I want to send a pre shout out before the birthday happens for him. I want to send shout outs to the Jerk and Jollof people in the Jerk and Jollof Festival. Shout outs to Alexis Reed for the Four Seasons Slam. Shout outs to all the people
that was Alexis's event?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, in the event, Alexis, that you see this, I'm sorry that I didn't get to go to your event, but I will have to tell you that in the street, it was spoken of very highly, not just from this Nigel guy right here, but there was a lot of people who went who really, really enjoyed it, actually.
The streets be talking.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Courtney Spence for rocking with me, hearing where I'm going to be, and then showing up to every event that says I'm going to be there. I just see him in the crowd, or I see him just hanging out. And I really rock with Courtney on a very deep level because I got introduced to handball because of Courtney. Courtney is an amazing handballer. And I used to go to his games. It used to be like, invite me to your games, I want to go. And I used to go to his games, and I enjoy watching black excellence in sports. So I did the same thing with Neville. Anybody who's really rocked with sports, David Grange when he used to play football, Raymond Charles, God rest his soul, when he used to also play flag football, he always would invite me to the games. And I tried to make it out to whatever I could. He actually wanted me to play on the team for a long time, and I was considering it. I said, I have to consider, I have to contemplate. And so I did for a very long time. So shout out to the people. Shout out to all the children, especially my children who have been off. I didn't get to see my children as much as I want to, especially hang out with them. So I want them to know that I love them. I'm always thinking about them, and I have something planned out, but I have to do more planning and make more money to have it go through. So it's gonna be fun, and we're gonna have a good time. And so shout out to my four lovelies. How about yourself?
I want to give a big shout out and a happy birthday to Sanaya. It is her birthday tomorrow, actually. She turns 22 years old. So she's an old dog. And also big shout out to Standing Bear Community. If you are within the sound of my voice and you've always wanted to go to a sweat lodge, I will be firekeeping tomorrow's lodge. Ooh, yeah, so this is my personal invite. I will text you all directly when I get off. But definitely this is your opportunity to come. You know, it's a women's sweat, but it's a community women's sweat. So it's not going to be too super duper hot. But if you want to come and you're not sure how or what the protocols are, you can definitely hit me up and I'll shoot you a pin and whatnot.
And what's it not?
And the what's and the nots.
I always remember the TV show The 100 because they always had a woman on there named the Flame Kepa.
Oh.
And then you found out they were a firekeeper.
As their job to keep the fire alive.
It was their job to keep the nuclear launch codes.
Different fire. I go there, we start the fire, and we keep the fire alive. That's my job. I'll probably have to like carry some wood and put wood somewhere, and
very similar job.
Pack up wood and stuff like that. No nuclear launch codes here.
Similar. So
yeah, so big shout out. Yeah, big shout out to everybody. I asked Anaya if she wanted to come. I'm like, it's a birthday sweat, like you should come. She was like, absolutely not.
Sweat on my birthday.
No. It's also champagne birthday for her, so she's 22 on the 22.
Oh.
Yeah. So super fun.
I missed that, I guess.
Yeah.
I did actually. I did
23 out of 23.
I did my 23 out of 23.
Okay. I did 17 on the 17. Like, what are you gonna do, really? Anyhow, so happiest of birthdays to my one and only. And yeah, I was thinking that her, Sunset, and I should go take family pictures.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I want to do some cute ones, but I also want to do some like lame ones, some like denim on denim. With, like,
is she gonna bring her cats?
Maybe. I guess they are my grand kittens.
We'll see how Sunset feels.
Maybe. No, it's not for grands. It's just for the direct children.
We'll see how Sunset feels about this whole
her nieces,
situation.
Her niece and nephew. She happens to have a cat, niece and nephew. But anyway,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what we have. And we're gonna move on to a little portion of the scroll that we call the scroll. So on the scroll, we go through, we're going to do some things that we did before, and we're going to go through pretty much social media infotainment. Please remember, if you're watching this part of the show, this is actual, but it is not always factual. No. We are not journalists, and we do not try to be journalists. So we want to make it clear that what we're talking about is definitely happening, but the details might be a little fuzzy.
We're kind of professional amateurs.
We've put in the safeguards so that we never have to actually. Anyway,
so here we are.
So we talked about the poetry slam.
First thing on the list is Jerk and Jollof. So Jerk and Jollof was a festival that was a fusion between jerk seasoning from the Caribbean island of Jamaica with jollof rice, which comes from the continent of Africa, where there are...
Sorry, your accent is always an eyebrow.
There's numerous places in Africa that say that they have the best jollof. I had, for the very first time, smoky jollof, which I thought they just burnt the jollof. And they gave me...
They did, but
they smoked it.
It's smoked.
It's different than burning. But it was good.
You have to burn to get the smoke. I get it, but yeah.
No.
One is on purpose.
They put the wood. They put wood
while the rice is cooking
underneath the rice, and then make the smoke from the wood infuse the rice.
Okay.
So it's not the actual rice that's being burnt; it's the wood.
It's the wood. Okay.
So that happened. I got to sing on stage.
Mm-hmm.
They got to use the band and I as guinea pigs to try and figure out what was going on with the sound.
Wow.
So we then assisted Jerk and Jollof with doing our best on stage, and they were very happy with the performance in the end. And so, next year they'll have everything like tight right from the beginning. And even some sound checks would be nice too. They'll have that going, so it'll be good.
Well, this is technically their first year, isn't it?
Well, as Jerk and Jollof, yes.
Yeah.
They rebranded to Jerk and Jollof. Last year was just Jollof.
It was Jollof the year prior to. Did they have it the year prior?
They just had it.
Last year was the first year?
I think last year was the first year.
Oh, for some reason I thought there was a Jollof festival the year prior.
Yeah. They had it the same time as Cocktails and Jerk last year, and it was they made some changes to make sure that they can include everybody. So that was really good and smart on their part. So they did a good job. And then shout out to all the people and performers that were there. Tim Noel, who's a citywide favorite, and also OG Jonah was there present and rocked the mic there. And Bert and Karen, who did a great job emceeing the entire thing from top to bottom. So shout outs to them as well.
Big shout out to Bert and Karen. I'm a super huge fan of theirs.
Yeah, and Joyful Noise was there, which is their brainchild. I love the fact that
Love
the
that.
entire family participates in it. I love it.
Marley too?
Marley too.
I love
Marley
it.
actually was in the crowd, in with the kids, and like telling the kids when to stand up and when to sit down. He's the big time leader. That
I
guy,
love him, bro. I love him so
Marley
much.
Marr.
He's like, hey, so do you like dinosaurs? Like, what's your favorite dinosaur? I was like, oh, I'm glad you asked, actually. He's funny. He's a good one. Yes, love it. Love the whole family.
Yeah,
And I don't know if it's like appropriate to be like, I'm a fan of your family. But yeah, it seems like it. They're all stars over there. So
all stars.
I'm glad. Sounds like it was a great time.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, after I finished that, went to the poetry slam. So the poetry slam was good.
Okay.
We had a bunch of people rock the mic, people that you know, people that you might not know, like Jenny, who was on there, had her jackets and had her stuff there. Plus, she sang two amazing songs. There was a guy by the name of B. Wells who came up and he did a song as well and some poetry.
Very cool.
There was Kiki Bands was there.
Mm-hmm.
She rapped. And then our fan favorite and city favorite from Mela Freak, front singer, and has her own album, Rewo, rocked the mic again. She's like, you always tell people that I beat you in the Rejoice Alberta competition. I said, yeah.
She
I tell
did.
people you beat the brakes off of me in the competition. I thought I was going to win until you came in and swept the crowd. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So I was like, okay. So that was a poetry slam. They did a great job.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a fantastic time. Everybody I know who went also said it was a great time. So congratulations, big congratulations to Alexis for a phenomenal event and a successful event. I do have to say, this is just from what I heard. Obviously, I was not there. There was an artist, a poet, who was poetizing about freedom, and it was a very ally, pro freedom type of a thing. And a couple people in the audience said that they were triggered a little bit because they felt like it was like artwork blackface. Like they felt like even though this person presented themselves as an ally,
right,
they felt like the artwork was, yeah.
It was interesting because it was put as slam poetry, so the title of it was Freedom, and so they talked about being East Indian in the community and and the stigmas between why people judge you and why they shouldn't, about being black and why people judge you and why they shouldn't, and stuff like that. And she kind of said it, and she's blonde hair, blue eyes. So
Oh, when you said that, I was about to be like, oh, so she's East Indian.
no, she's
Got
blonde hair,
it.
blue eyes, and she's letting people know this is right, but also including herself in a group of people that wants to have a voice but cannot have a voice because society states
that they can't. Okay.
And so it can be
her as a woman.
Watch as it can be triggering for people, especially a black woman, to watch that and be like, but you're part of the problem. But it can be triggering. I'm not saying that's how I feel, but
no. It wasn't you. It was definitely other people. Yeah. But yeah, it was the call is coming from the inside of the house type of a moment for them.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, like, in terms of engaging in artwork, do you? So I am of the ilk that when white folks continue to make money off enslavement, even if that's artistically, like, yeah. I don't like it, right?
Yeah.
Or do you feel like as long as the story is being told?
I feel that everybody has a voice that they want to say something. I believe that we can't stop. It's the reason why we have freedom of speech, because you could go and talk and say whatever you want. Now, not everybody's gonna like what you have to say, and then you have to understand the repercussions of the words that come out of your mouth can incite riotous, violent behavior, or it can be peaceful and calm. But either way, the way that you voice your opinion, people are going to react to it, and you're not going to be able to control how they react. I may have hated what she had to say, but she had lots to say. There was lots to say. She has a whole book of like little snippets that she has also that she wants to say. So I was like, okay.
So you believe in people's right to have a voice, even if you don't agree with what they have to say.
Human rights.
That's your point.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do.
But you also,
I'm as a black man, I'm
support people's right to hate on what she has to say as well, because that's the other side of the coin.
I do.
You have the right to say what you want to say, but you also have the responsibility to deal with the consequences.
I've said this on the show many times, and I say it out loud to people all the time. People, everybody on earth have opinions, and they all have buttholes. And you know what? Sometimes both of those things stink. That's what it is.
It's a good one.
Yeah, sometimes both of those things stink, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay. Alrighty, tidy. We are now going to be...
Sorry, I just have to interrupt you. The greatest part about having this on YouTube is your synopsis comes up on my phone.
Oh.
So it's really good. So
so you can read it.
So we're on Manny Bates Police. Manny Bates Police. I don't have to squint.
You're
see.
Like,
okay, Manny. Oh, there we are. So listen, man, there's a guy in Alberta. He evades the police.
I personally believe that he's black, but listen to the story.
I don't know. By jumping into a lake, right? But then not knowing how to swim properly, so had to get saved by the very
police.
They had to call in the people
by the very police.
I doubt those police got that uniform wet. Let me tell you that straight up in there.
They definitely telephoned someone. I guarantee you.
They put a stick in the water and said, "Hold on."
Their baton. He said, "Ow!" They said, "Hold on, grab onto it. Do you want to get out of there or not?"
Yeah. So they literally saved him, only for him to find out he didn't have a warrant or anything.
That's why I believe he's black, you guys, because here are the facts of the case. You're running from police. Why?
Yeah, why?
Because they're police. And they're chasing you. So you gotta run from them. They said, "Hey, you." He said, "Oh, no." And then they started running, and the police was like, "He's running. He must be guilty or something." They started chasing him.
They'll find it all out later.
That they had no reason to be chasing him. Meanwhile, they were probably looking at him crazy. Like,
they pulled him out the water and said, "Who are you?"
He was soaking wet. They probably ran his license while he was in there and realized they had no business with him. It just was like, all right, civilian.
An Alberta man had a problem.
Shout out to Zemmy's Universe, by the way. Yeah, so definitely jumped in there. I also believe he's black because he then had turned around and had to be saved by the very police that were in pursuit of him.
I feel weird about implications that black males can't swim.
Okay. This is just what I think about what's happening.
I taught myself how to swim.
You can swim, and then you can get into a lake and not be able to swim.
A river.
Because lakes are a whole other situation. I feel like I get it. Rivers, currents, I get it. But lakes, it's the slimy. It's the touching. It's the mud. I don't know.
If you're swimming,
anyway, I hope we find this out. God forbid I find this out. I'm bringing it back to you guys on this very show. If you are watching us on YouTube, please take the opportunity to like the show and subscribe and leave us a comment so people know that, and by people I mean us, so that we know that you are watching us. Because as I said the other day, sometimes we're just here screaming into the void. Okay.
Yes.
Next, transit costs, rising transit costs.
Rise up.
The city of Edmonton has decided, being that they already provide methamphetamines and fentanyl for your trip, you will now have to start paying for
it. What?
See, this is why you can't leave me untethered when we're on the show.
Listen, they rose the prices because the LRT system
is going more places now.
Smacking into people, and the lawsuits are going
the lawsuits, bro.
Click, click. Every time the ding, 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 ding.
No. Listen, somebody took a picture of their kids, just their kids, and their kids were like, had this very face. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Here was the face. And they were like, took them on the LRT for the first time today. They've seen too much.
I get that.
But I also say that to say there are ways that we can do. There are things that we can probably do socially that cost a lot of money, that provide the services and the structures necessary for the folks who don't have a place to live or houses right now. We could start by making it harder to evict people in Edmonton. These people can raise the rent no matter what. They don't have to like provide any reasons or upgrades or anything. Yep. So we acknowledge that there is a systemic structural issue at hand. There's here.
A problem.
However, it's a rough place, the Edmonton LRT.
Edmonton, Alberta had a problem. Shout out.
Shout out to Zebby's Universe. Absolute favorite. Okay. Chipotle. Did you know the McDonald's company owns Chipotle?
That's nuts. No, I did not. But I've never had Chipotle. I don't know what the hype is.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to travel to Calgary.
It.
I'm gonna travel to Calgary because Chipotle just opened up.
We have lots of reasons
and
to travel.
They didn't even open yet. It's just the side and the building is up.
And the line has probably started. You got to give it a couple months. Canadians love a thing.
Here's the thing, and about Calgary that I can't stand. All right, I love Calgarians. I have a lot of Calgarian friends. A lot of my best friends are Calgarians. Okay, so
shout out to K Riz.
Don't judge me.
Shout out to you, Riz.
But the problem is that there have been wealthy Calgarians who have purposely put embargoes that restrict certain restaurants from opening in Edmonton. They've done this on purpose.
Really?
Yes. So that's why we'll never have a Krispy Kreme. Look it up. I can't even lie about this stuff. Look it up. Krispy Kreme was blocked by Calgary from us having a Krispy Kreme. They had a Krispy Kreme for years until it shut down and went bankrupt.
That's crazy that they can even do that, to be honest.
They've done a lot of things. And it's the reason why Calgary and Edmonton have beef. We in Edmonton had 2 airports. We're the capital city. So we had the international airport and then we had what's called the municipal airport. Municipal airport always had the planes going back and forth. But then the international airport expanded and put in a municipal section into the international airport. But guess what happened? Before all that happened, the expansion, the city of Calgary owned Edmonton's municipal airport downtown on 107.
Yes.
Because they own that airport. If you have an airport close to the downtown core, that downtown core can't make skyscrapers. So there are no skyscraper buildings, no lavish architecture. And meanwhile, Calgary's building like all the architecture and structure. People go there like, oh, Calgary's downtown core is so beautiful. And I'm like, it's beautiful because they stopped Edmonton from doing what they had to do when we had to do it.
In fairness, they're about to have to figure out how to destroy that tower as we speak. So
Which tower?
Their hubris got the best of them, to be honest. That same Calgary tower.
Oh, well.
They have to demolish that in the middle of that city right now.
That's easy.
It's easy, but they
New
don't.
York's been doing it for a long time.
That's what I was gonna tell you. They don't have the people who do that in Calgary.
They'll get the people from New York to come over to Calgary.
I'm just saying it was a real issue for the people.
A demolition specialist in the New York area, it's huge. To crumble a skyscraper and build something on top of it, it's a thing. So there's lots of specialists in Calgary. Trust me, you all have the money. You've had an LRT running above ground for decades. Like, we just got our LRT running above ground, like, just recently. Come on, give me a break. So we just got one going to West Edmonton Mall. We're now building one going to West Edmonton Mall. And it all has to do with this trade embargo. Anyways, let's keep it
trade embargo.
Speaking of Calgary, let's jump to the fact that the Calgary Humane Society have busted up cats left, right, and center in the humane place. Not only are they doing trade embargoes against Edmonton, but they're busting cats, the poor little kittens.
It's the trade
tiny
embargo
little
for
kittens.
me.
They've been abusing them and even killing them. Murderous behavior.
That's pretty outrageous.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, why are you doing this? Yeah.
I have heard that PETA also does the same thing. And I think
they bust up kittens too?
They bust up animals generally, yeah, apparently. But I have heard that, like, you can do a lot of really awful things, but you can't do things to cats. Like, that's where people draw the line. So we'll see what happens to the Humane Society.
Let me tell you something about cats. It's not even cats. It's little baby kittens. When you see the little,
it's even worse.
You see the little tiny little kittens. Sorry, Sunset. You know, they're cute, right?
Sunset likes to chase kittens.
Me personally, I'm definitely allergic to kittens. I mean, I don't really want them around me, but I don't want you to murder them.
No, like, that's crazy.
It's a thing.
Anyhow.
Come on.
Sorry, the cat distribution system will get you somehow for
They'll
that.
Get you.
Speaking of Calgary.
The
Black Canadian Women in Action.
Oh, BCW.
Had a little event.
Yeah.
In Calgary.
Wow.
And their maid of honor for that event was
chairman of the board,
none other than Her Honor Danielle Smith. Danielle Marlena Smith. Okay. That's better, right?
Danielle Smith, yes.
Danielle Smith. Let me give her an applause here. Just being herself. So I just think it's so interesting that Danielle Smith is like no pronouns, only adjectives and adverbs in school. And we're over here inviting her to our events. It's really something.
Danielle Smith is opening up a thing where transgender people are not allowed to participate in female sports.
So male sports, watch out.
Yeah, you can jump in there, but not in the female sports.
Not in the female sports.
Danielle Smith.
So, anyway, I had a conversation one time about respectability politics in the Edmonton community, especially when I say the Black community, I mean the broader Black community in terms of the people we may not even regularly be involved with, and the influx of money into the Black community from the federal government that has happened recently, which Trudeau and his dad definitely both know how to buy our affections. But apparently it's coming to an end because the money was to acknowledge the UN's decade for people of African descent. There was like a thing where they were like, yeah, actually, black people and people of African descent in the diaspora definitely have it a lot tougher. So Canada decided to put 2 cents behind that. It's a thing a lot of the other countries did not do, but that time is quickly coming to an end. So I am curious to see how these organizations will continue serving the black community that they're so passionate about. And what I'm seeing so far is that it's just by like indiscriminately politicking.
This is cyclical. It is. It happened before in the 80s with Pierre Trudeau. So Pierre Trudeau did this thing. He put this influx in. He brought in a bunch of refugees and people from the Caribbean to come in and work. Lots of people who came here came from all over the islands and made Edmonton, Alberta, specifically their home, and came here during a boom. And it was in Fort McMurray. My dad was part of the boom portion. He came in the 70s, but he came and he helped people that were there. Places like the NBCC and Jana got grants. They were easily made production grants for the NBCC to do their programming. Once the power shifted, all those grants got removed. And then you got to see which organization stood the test of time.
The test of time.
And it's happening one more time again. Similar to how it happened in the 80s, it's happening right now in the 2020s.
Yeah. So, anyway, Danielle, welcome to the black community.
Welcome to the Blakes. By the way, speaking of Blakes, Carifest was this weekend in Calgary.
This past weekend. Congratulations,
celebrating
Calgary.
Love and freedom with a carnival theme. And Edmonton people went to Calgary in droves to participate and be part of the mass band.
True.
Even people that do not participate in Jab Jab here participated Jab Jab there and had a great time over there. And
are you telling our people?
No. It's just I'm just saying that.
I'm like, we didn't really have Jab Jab this year, to be honest.
And I understand. And I understand. But they were over there having a good time. Kitty Wamba's good time.
And also big shout out also to Calgary Jab Jab, to Cece. Yeah, Cece and I talk a lot. Cece's a fantastic person, 10 out of 10 human being. So yeah, big shout out to Calgary, the whole Carifet crew, all those people. Sherman Height, Calgary lets us borrow him. Yeah, every time, but it's big shout out to them.
Big shout out. Yeah.
Now we're gonna talk about Marvin Gaye.
We're gonna talk about Tyrese. So Tyrese was he went and decided he was gonna sing the national anthem.
Yes. For who? Not sure. Okay. I think it was like some sporting event. Probably football.
It was a football event.
Okay.
And he decided to do it as Marvin Gaye, not as Therese. Not as Therese. So anyways, so because he went there, he literally put on a wig. He literally put on a beard, a chin strap beard.
Yeah.
Not a mustache and beard, but a chin strap beard.
A full chin.
And then sang the mess out of the song.
It was also poor. It was a poor wig.
The song they sang and his vocal prowess was good because we all know that he
was it.
Yeah,
I felt like he sang it weird. He didn't sing it properly. Okay, he just did He did a very stylized rendition.
He did the exact same style that Marvin Gaye did, and the same beat as Marvin Gaye did for the Lakers game when Marvin Gaye was alive.
I think it lacked context.
I think people are so far away from that they're not going to know this is what he did unless you go back and look at it. And so social media is what it is.
Social media is what it is.
So people are They
And
are.
you do love Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah, I do. I think that Tyrese is an individual that's twisted and torn and complicated like all of us. And I think like I watched a
He's your
video.
problematic fave.
He kind of is like I
Kanye
feel
West is
bad.
my problematic fave.
I feel bad for Tyrese because Tyrese has been through separations and divorce and miscarriages and is not working and
He's been
you
doing
know
his thing for a very long time.
and
So he's
we're the
been
same
through a
age.
lot for sure.
Tyrese and I are the same age. We're just a few months apart. So when I see him struggling, I'm like, oh, the guy's struggling. He needs help. He needs a hug. He needs more male friends to be there. But he's also a kind of guy that may not trust a lot of people because
And maybe, I don't know if it's like regional or what have you, but I do feel like because many men and like there's this is how patriarchy hurts men, to be honest with you.
well,
There's this emphasis that like you can't cry, you can't show emotions, you have to be strong, and your value is like very much about what you can produce, what you can give, what you can solve, what you can whatever. And then at the same time, you're not encouraged to have like a deeper emotional relationships with each other.
right.
So when you need that kind of support, like somebody to call to be like, "Bro, I need help. I'm not doing well," or "This is how do I process this?" or like even somebody to be like, "Oh, bro, this is what I did. This is what you did." I I think that black men would benefit very much from that. And I also think like there's a like women ourselves, we do have a tendency to like debrief. I was talking about this with my niece. Like when an event is over, a trip or whatever, we're going to go through the happenings and the events of the trip. We kind of do that naturally. We debrief our events. But guys, many men do, not only do they not do that, but like for example, my brother-in-law Brian, he'll say nothing. He'll be like, "Yeah, it was okay, it was good, had a good time," and then we'll be debriefing, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, you noticed that? Oh yeah, I was wondering why she said that. Oh this, oh that." All of a sudden, super involved in the conversation. We're like, "Okay, so you did notice that. Why were you not going to bring it up before?" But yeah, so I don't know how that's going to happen or if there's already structures for that to happen, but I feel like there needs to be a little more vulnerability in the black male population with each other.
Well, here's the funny thing about what you just said. Black men do communicate quite well about stuff like that in the group chat. but black men have to feel safe and secure with the men that they are sharing the information with. For instance, my guy friends and I went on a trip to Las Vegas. It was one of the greatest trips ever. If you see us in a public setting, we might do what I call callbacks to that. We'll do a callback and we'll say something. Like if I go up to Barry and say, "Freaking Barry," then Barry knows exactly what that was from, why I'm saying it. He'll start laughing, I'll start laughing. However, when we get together as guys, the the ones who are on the trip, we'll recount every story of everything that happened. We'll laugh. We'll wonder why this happened. We'll talk about it. But it is something about being safe in the environment that we're in and safe talking to the people that we're talking to. So
I
that's what
still
I gotta
think
say.
you need deeper connections, deeper vulnerable connections as black men.
Okay.
You feel like you guys have enough?
I feel that you may not know the deeper connections that people have.
So you feel like you have enough as a black man? You feel like you have enough community
I mean,
support
I feel
and
like
connection?
you said community. I
Well, no,
feel
with
that the
other
people
black
who I'm
men.
safe talking to, I talk to them. People I feel safe talking to. Now, does everybody need therapy? Yeah, yeah. I think I need more therapy. I think there are things that I've gone through, that I'm currently going through, that I'm about to go through, that are going to require somebody outside the situation to actually take and give positive feedback and help me move past certain levels. I do believe that. I believe that a lot of black men need that in their life. But as far as having somebody safe that they can talk to, I think black men choose who they're going to talk
To
to.
be vulnerable, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for a lot of black men, that's the lady or the person, sorry, that they are in a relationship with.
Exactly. That's my point.
Not
I'm not
another person.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm glad you got there. What I'm trying to say is that you guys need to share the emotional labor with each other, not rely just on the women. I think there are things that you can deal with your own goings on, with your own figurings out, that another man or other black men, like, to be able to talk deeply and vulnerably and emotionally about those things, but in the way that we're conditioned to do with a partner of some kind. Because if you don't have a partner, then what, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. We were gonna talk about this. I was gonna talk about this Matthew Perry situation. So pretty much, you guys, Matthew Perry, which is Chandler from Friends, passed away from an overdose, apparent overdose, definite overdose, but from an overdose, probably about a year ago now, right?
Okay.
Anyway, so a bunch of people recently were arrested having to do with him. So it's not just like, it's definitely doctors, it's definitely like some managers, some of his managers as well, and people who had to do with his life, that they're saying put him in a situation for him to be, and some drug dealers, for him to be taken advantage of, essentially, right? So it recently, this guy Milo, who works for Kanye, he's been Kanye's chief of staff for a couple years. He's a genuine boss, if you guys know what that is. He's a genuine boss, but he's come out recently saying that Kanye West is addicted to nitrous oxide, laughing gas. And he's saying that there's this one specific dentist that's taking advantage of him and literally putting him on laughing gas, bleeding his accounts dry, and delivering him laughing gas to like these hotels and these private, bringing it to his house, essentially. So he's like facilitating Kanye using this. So anyway, bruv.
Right.
The guy got arrested in the death of the Matthew Perry. Same guy, bro.
Wow.
Wowzy wows.
Was he telling on himself there?
What?
Was the dentist the guy in Matthew Perry's, or was the guy from Kanye West the guy?
Kanye West, chief of staff.
He is the guy from
came out and said that Kanye West is being taken advantage of by this dentist, and the dentist was recently named in the Matthew Perry case, right? Exactly. Because there's all kind of dog tranquilizers, cat tranquilizers. Forgive me. But there's many kinds of tranquilizers available out there for people now. So anyway, that's what's going on with the death of Matthew Perry and how it ties back to the Black multiverse. So hashtag save Kanye. I don't know what's going on, but the people say that there's a lot of strange things. Apparently, yeah. The people who are on the gossip blogs are on the gossip blogs. Bianca allegedly, apparently is part of a crime family, like the Sensori crime family.
Wow.
And she has power of attorney in all his stuff, all his business dealings. You know, the one who goes out in plastic bags?
Yeah.
Wearing plastic bags? Yeah, her. So, yeah. Is she in on it? Is she in on it with the dentist? What's going on? Anyway, well, I guess we'll see. And that's almost it. Yeah. We've got Dr. Doom. Robert Downey Jr. is going to play Dr. Doom. Nigel is pissed about that.
Well, I am not happy about the fact that Doctor Doom is going to be played by RDJ. And it's just because
he was too Iron Man.
He did what he had to do for Marvel. I think he came in to reboot the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And he did that.
And he did that. I think by doing people love the Iron Man movies, all of them. There's not one that people are like, oh, well, that's a horrible one. Batman, you have Batman that people are like, this is terrible. You have Spider-Man that people are like, this was terrible. But Iron Man, barely any of them people are like, this is terrible. Even the one with the guy with the whip, who was whipping with a laser whip and cut a car in half with a laser whip. Even though, well,
that's okay.
Believable.
It's not believable, but it also doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. It's entertaining.
It's entertaining.
And they loved Robert Downey Jr. in all the
He's America's darling. He's America's sweetheart. He's the anti-hero.
He literally is. And they loved him.
So who would you prefer play Dr. Doom?
For Dr. Doom?
Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm just kidding.
No. Not for Dr. Doom. I think Dr. Doom has to be somebody who's like
black?
Maniacal.
Oh.
No. Although people like to throw black people in these roles. I don't necessarily think the person needs to be black, but I think the person needs to be like Latino. I think the person has to have a hard face. Like Dr. Doom is not there having girls like all over him and stuff. Dr. Doom lives alone in a castle by himself with powers. Like,
yeah, but nothing a woman likes more than a man who's got himself together and doesn't need no woman in his face.
Nothing a woman wants is a man that doesn't want no woman around him. That's what you're trying to say.
There's nothing we love more.
I just feel like a hard face. I'm trying to think of all the people that could cover this type of thing, but
it might be somebody we have to discover a little bit.
Yeah,
like is out there, but maybe he's been on Amazon Prime.
You know who I think? The guy who played Dune in Dune.
Oh, Timothée Chalamet.
Him. I think he's got a face that looks.
You said evil. Dr. Doom's not getting girls, and then you picked a heartthrob.
No,
not my heart.
He's a heartthrob, but he has the potential to be evil. Like his face alone.
I agree with you.
You could look at his face and he could just stop smiling. And you'd be like, "Oh, what's wrong with him?
Yeah,
what's going on?"
I could see that.
Right?
I could definitely see that.
Maybe him.
Okay. And lastly, we've got the Democratic National Convention. I'm not really going to say much about that. The Barack Obamas came and they pretty much shat on Trump. They did a big dookie on Donald Trump. And they were like a bit petty, the things they were saying. And Donald Trump was like, oh, wow, you're attacking me personally? That's like, bro, you're king of attacking people personally. Do you know it's your vibe? It's your vibe.
He's vibing.
So they went in there and they mean girled him. And they said that, Michelle said, did anybody tell him that the job he's applying for might just be one of those black jobs? Which is hilarious coming from Michelle. And apparently she had a couple other digs at him as well. So it hurt his feelings, which is a success, I guess, right?
It's a presidential election. You should be getting your feelings hurt. That's their job.
You're supposed to be getting your feelings. You're supposed to be hurting the other person's feelings.
No,
it knocks them off their game. And then they can't talk about their fake policy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
All I know is if I'm in a presidential debate, I'm hurting the other person's feelings so that they can't focus on their points.
I remember playing football. And when I played football, I was a wide receiver. I was fast. And because of that, whenever I lined up opposite the other guy on the defense, they would look at me and be like, "That's the guy," and try to intimidate me and be like, "That's the guy." Even two guys would come at me, and I would start smiling because I'm like, "You idiots! If two of you are on me, that means there's
somebody's
nobody.
Open.
Yeah, there's nobody on my other guy, and he can catch." And it was fun. I used to smile big, like big teeth, Naraya type smile, big, big, big smile in their face, and then blow past them. It was my favorite. It was my favorite thing to do.
Ah.
And I think the presidential election is much like that. Like you're looking at this guy, you're saying this is the guy. He should be smiling, laughing confidently. The fact that he got his feelings hurt just is how terribly weak.
Are you saying he should not have
got his feelings hurt?
Okay, he should not have internalized the hurt.
It's a debate, man. Come on, give it up.
They're like, but he's like, but they attacked me personally. Why are you guys talking about my hands? Let's talk about the policy.
When Barack Obama...
Let's talk about the policy at hand.
People forget that Barack Obama went up against Republican Joe Biden for his presidential election for year one. So when he went up against Republican Joe Biden, they were going back and forth. And you know what happened after all was said and done? My man made him the vice president and was like, stick with me, Joe. We'll go places. And Joe became a Democrat and never looked back.
Really?
Check it out.
I did not know.
Remember it.
I did not know that Joe Biden was a Republican.
As she has her phone up to her face, I will continue the show.
We're going to move on to the portion of the show that we call...
The
Screen.
Screen.
So what you watching?
On the screen, man, I went and started watching Dr. House. For those of you who don't know things about me, I like to give you little Easter eggs and nuggets about me. I was this close to becoming a medical professional, and by that I mean a doctor. I just chose a different path, and I'm on that path right now. But I often think about even going to this day back to school to become a doctor. So when I watch House and they start to do medical treatments, I'm starting to think about why House thinks the way he does. Now, the writing is the writing for the main character. But why would a doctor like House choose what he's doing? This guy said he had irritable bowels, inflamed bowels. So he's having a problem, right? Doc House said, smoke cigarettes. It's cheaper. Why? Because nicotine helps with that, reduce that? That's crazy. Why did you choose that? So, I'm watching House, guys. And I watched The Union with Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg. And let me tell you something. I've never seen Halle Berry run so terribly. She looks... The Halle Berry's clearly in her 50s right now.
Is she? I think she might be in her 60s.
Is she in her 60s?
I believe so. I can tell you that right now.
Okay. I'll wait for you to tell me. But let me tell you something. However old Halle Berry is, she runs that age. Like, that's the age that she runs. So she looks like in her face like she's young.
She's 58. She runs like a 58-year-old.
She runs like a 63-year-old. Like she literally sitting there.
No.
She's literally sitting there, and of course she's part of this covert op thing, and her whole team gets compromised, and people are are dying left, right, and center from her team. They're getting sniped from afar.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she's running. They're running to the point, extraction point, of course, right? Because we all know the extraction point. So they're running to the extraction point. Halle Berry's chasing them, trying to get to them to also get to the extraction point. And she's running like this. She's running with her hands out like she just hurt her back.
No, just trying not to hurt her hips.
She's trying to bip. She doesn't want to bip.
Yeah, exactly. When you get to a certain age,
like,
it's not even falling that's the problem. It's almost falling. Because you can pull your back out and catch it yourself, bro.
She's running with her hands out like this.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I could swear she ran as Storm in X-Men years ago. What happened now? What did you hurt that you are running like this, man? Why did they make you run? You are not Will Smith. Stop running. You are not any of these people who have a wicked run. I don't know why they made Halle Berry run.
I don't know why she doesn't have somebody who runs for her, being Halle Berry. Just switch her out.
Literally, they could just AI digital just put her face on.
Yeah, this is me running. If you need a close up of the face, and then have somebody else actually do the running.
She literally has, a figure that she has kept over the years.
Yeah.
The jacket she was wearing in the thing, you might as well have just put the jacket. I thought it was the same jacket from X-Men. The very first one.
The little no collar one.
The little no collar one. She wore the same.
She also wore John Wick.
She wore the same jacket. The same jacket she's been wearing. They're like, yo, put her in a leather jacket
with Chinese collar, with that collar with the snap over.
With the snap over right
yes,
here.
bro.
Yeah. Actually, she.
That's how you know she means business.
Yeah, that's her thing. Don't put her in anything else but this jacket.
Yeah.
So they put her in the jacket.
Dusty.
She had the black jacket zipped up. She could unzip it if she needs to let everybody breathe. And that's what was going on.
Let everybody breathe.
And then Mark Wahlberg is supposed to be her love interest.
Not Mark Wahlberg.
Her Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch.
DJ. Oh my God.
He was her love interest.
Did you know Marky Mark tried to get that thing expunged off of his record?
Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch?
Yeah. Did you know that he beat up a guy with a baseball bat, a racially motivated crime, and called him all kinds of slurs?
Yeah.
And he went to try and get it wiped from his records.
He tried to, but it didn't work.
They were like, no.
No, that's going to stay there, bud.
That's
so now
intense.
He works with, anytime he can work with a person of color, he will. There's not a single movie he's done in the last decade that he has not worked with.
I don't believe Mark Wahlberg to have morphed into being a good person, to be honest with you. But we'll leave that where it is. Yeah, I don't have any immediate anecdotes or whatchamacallit.
What are you watching on the screen?
So I've been watching a lot of Shannon Sharpe's interviews.
Nice.
Club Shay Shay, to be honest with you.
Shannon
Specifically, Sharpe. I was watching John Cena, although I don't know if he was on there because I was unable to see him.
Wow.
Any case, I love Shay Shay did his big intro, which he always does, and then he was like, he might be here. At the end. That's funny. Anyway, yeah, so just it was a good interview as well, very polished. It was like okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it. It was like no, I'm not gonna say it. It's not a nice thing to say. There are these two brolicky, I will say, like, meathead dudes having the most media polished interview. John Cena being like, that's a great question. And Shannon Sharpe really having all of the questions, really,
Yeah.
Also, he did a great interview with, his interview style's getting better, is what I will say, because Shannon Sharpe, or maybe I don't know, let's see how many black women he has, but his interview style is getting better, I think. And he also interviewed Golden Boy. Oscar de la Hoya.
Oh, okay.
One of my favorite. Like, I haven't seen a ton of Oscar interviews, but honestly, one of my favorite. He's like Bernard Hopkins, Floyd Mayweather, Shane Mosley, and there was one other one. He's like, there was two, Cotto, and there was somebody else. And he was like, and maybe him, maybe it was him. He's like, how do you rank them? He's like, oh, I'm second last next to Cotto. He's like, he goes, second last? He's like, yeah, Cotto can't beat me. He can't beat me. I know that. I know he can't beat me.
He can't beat me.
He's like, so what are you saying about Bernard Hopkins? He's like, Shannon, I fought those guys. They beat me. They all beat me. And one thing I remember about the Golden Boy is that he was a mediocre boxer. I did not find him to be like, people would watch the fights because he had big buzz and he was there for Puerto Rico. He was like really about his spot there. But at the same time, he used to get beat all the time.
Beat up.
So he talks about that. And then for some reason he was talking, I don't know how it came up. And apparently he also manages Ryan Garcia, which I didn't know. Yeah. And he's like, Ryan's going to do what Ryan's going to do. I can't even imagine. He's like, why do you let him go online and say all that stuff? Like, why you don't have the reins on this guy? And Oscar de la Hoya is like, Shannon, literally I'm talking to him and everything is fine. Like, I'm reaching out, I'm talking to him, everything's good. Next thing you know, they're like, check Twitter. And I check Twitter and it's some out there thing. But he's like, Ryan's going to do what Ryan's going to do. He's like, Ryan's beating people and he's at like 30%, 40%. He's like, as this guy gets older, he feels like he's going to get the focus that he needs in order to develop his skill beyond the part where he's at now, where he's just kind of young and able to do it. Wow. But he talks about, remember there was that picture of him in a dress in the stockings?
Yeah.
He talks about that too.
What happened? Why he was there?
Like how did that happen? And he's explaining to Shannon, he's like, Shannon, how would you even get those pantyhose on me? Like, I'm a big guy. So apparently he ordered some S workers and they came in, or was some type of a deal like that. Anyway, they came in with a bunch of drugs and alcohol and a suitcase full of women's clothes. So he said that they were trying to set him up, right? So he did it, and then he convinced everybody, like they had everybody convinced that they were fake. He's like, before AI, before the age of the internet, they convinced the media and everything that they were fake pictures. And then he's like, somebody convinced him to go on the thing and be like, it was me. After his managers, his agents, his everybody managed it. I don't even remember who it was. And Shannon's like, what? He's like, no, but I'm glad he said he's glad he did because it eventually freed him from this thing that was like a stigma. For what reason? He's like, it was all 20 years ago. Like, who cares at this point? But when Shannon's like, what happened? He's like, I was high. Like, he was smacked out of his face. And so he wasn't able to make good decisions.
I think Shannon Sharp just interviewed Mike Tyson.
Did he? I would have to go find that. That would be amazing.
That's why I was like, did you see that one?
No, I haven't even seen that go up.
Mike Tyson is supposed to still fight Paul, right? Jake Paul
allegedly, but right now they postponed it because he said he was ill and then whatever. But they talked about the Jake Paul thing too, and Oscar's like, he just has to do it the right way, like fight the guys. And that's one thing that he's talking about. Now it's a business, which is true. Like, guys choose who they're gonna fight and do da. So some of the fights you never get to see. And he's like, back in the day, he's like, one thing you can say about Oscar de la Hoya, which is true, he fought everybody. He was like, I'm fighting. Yeah, he fought. He lost, really. But he fought everybody. So big shout out to him. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. I will take a look at that Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson has his own show. So
maybe they were talking about Mike Tyson. Maybe that was it.
I think they were talking about Mike Tyson, but
YouTube
I don't think he does. He's not a heavyweight guy. They're like welterweight or something like that. 140, 160 in that range. Anyway, that's what I'm watching.
Nice.
Right. You want to talk about what you're listening to right now?
Yep. I started listening to a lot of music because I am attempting to do my own show, my own concert show, and get an album going and have a project going and EP going, and um, of course Jerk and Jollof. I did do one of my original songs at Jerk and Jollof, which was great. And so now I've been listening to Stevie Wonder. I don't know why. I just woke up one day and my brain was like, I want to listen to Stevie. So I've been listening to Stevie Wonder like crazy.
Love it. Stevie's great. He's one of my faves.
It's fantastic. I've been thinking about ways of doing one or two songs from Stevie, but in an acoustic, slowed down version.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Nigel Williams and the Heart Streets. The Street Hearts. The Street Hearts is your band.
Apparently, my band named themselves the Nigel Trio.
The Trio? The Nigel Trio?
Nigel Williams at the Nigel Trio.
I don't like it.
I hated it.
That's terrible.
Like, and they're like, yeah.
No. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I know they like it, but sometimes we have to let go of the things that we like.
They're going to let go because it was a trio, but they're now adding a keyboardist.
Oh, so there's 4 people. Yeah, there's 5 of you now.
Yeah, they added there was 3 of them, and now they've added a keyboardist named Larry.
So now you have a full band. Yeah. Congratulations. So,
they wanted to add him. Sorry, Larry, if you're watching this, I haven't talked to you yet. My bad, dog. Come talk to me.
Yeah, so I wanted to say that I have had the privilege of hearing one of the original Nigel songs. Shout out to Taro as well. And it was phenomenal. Absolutely moving. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's why that's in my ears. And I'm also still listening to Welcome to Collie Grove, which is the 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne album that I'm wearing out as we speak. If it was a cassette tape, it would be warping already.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's move it along to the final portion, which is called the word. What you got?
Okay, my turn today.
Is it my turn? Say it's my turn. I don't keep a track.
I thought it was your turn, but it could be my turn, which is fine.
Okay.
My word for today is very, very, very simple. It's actually not that simple. Sorry. In confusion and disarray, there can be order. And I saw a lot of confusion and disarray in the last few weeks or so as things moved around, and I couldn't understand it. And what I had to stop myself from doing is, whose fault is it? That is a huge thing in Alberta and different places, is especially places that are run by colonizers or people who are not people of color. They always want to find out whose fault is it. Like, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? But really, it doesn't matter whose fault is it when you have a goal and you need it accomplished. We need to find out, how do we fix this problem? So I had to stop myself from trying to narrow down where the fault came from, because it didn't really matter. It doesn't matter who did the wrong or why they did the wrong. It only matters how we're going to get over it and fix the problem and succeed, because we can only climb forward if we're looking upward and we have our eyes on the path. If we are too busy looking back, then we're going to have a problem. Now, I say that very tongue-in-cheek because You need to know what you went through in the past so that you don't go through it again, so you can avoid making the same mistakes of your past. But if you know that about yourself, you could do that. But trying to find out outside of yourself whose fault it is, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It doesn't help in your work environment. It doesn't help in your friends group, in your relationships, or in your family. It doesn't matter. All that matters is what's your end game? What's your end game? What's your end goal? Keep your eye on the path and don't look back. That's it.
That was a wonderful word. Keep your eye on the path. Think to yourself, what could I have done better? Because you're the only person you can control.
That's it.
All right, everybody. YouTube, thank you for having us. I don't know if we'll be able to do this again. I hope we will be. This is a first for us. Please feel free, like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube words. And that's it. Thanks, everybody. And good night.
Good night.